Apparently I am the butt of all jokes here outside PCA, but that's a good thing, because I got three guys who I like, respect, and I'm interested to hear opinions from for this edition of Gary Wise versus the World. This show, which I apologize that it hasn't been on for a little while, personal life has taken a turn for the busy, but this is a show where we get a bunch of guys who really know their stuff sitting down talking about some of the things that are going on in the poker world. This week we have a superstar in an ESPN sandwich. It's kind of weird, but kind of fun and kind of kinky. First, let me introduce the man holding the camera. He is the editor of the ESPN Poker Club and a good personal friend. He rejected the invite to my wedding, one of the few poker industry guys who was invited to come. But, you know, love all the same. He's Andrew Feldman. Andrew?
You're going to hold that against me?
Absolutely.
That's wonderful, Gary.
Absolutely.
Hey, congrats on the marriage.
Thanks,
Glad we can finally talk about it.
Finally. Secondly, because I don't pimp the marriage enough. Secondly, the man in the middle of the sandwich. He is the cream to the Oreo cookies provided by ESPN. He's also one of the world's greatest StarCraft players and most successful poker tournament players of all time. That is Bertrand Elky.
Hey,
and finally, we had a last-minute cancellation.
Did that have to be mentioned?
But, no, I'm saying that as context because you have rescued my sorry ass, and I appreciate it. Bernard
Lee.
Lee.
Not be too happy about it, right?
Bernard Lee is not only an excellent poker player, he's also an excellent poker commentator. He does great stuff with Feldman on ESPN's myriad poker shows, including the Poker Edge. Inside Edge? Sorry.
Inside Deal.
Inside Deal. I'm all over the place here. Inside Deal. Never mind that I actually do some work for this website, folks. But they do a good job on the Inside Deal. And they bring you poker's best and brightest every week and deserve your viewing moments. Bernie, thank you so much, not only for being here, but for saving this panel from
not a problem.
from too much Feldman, frankly.
At least this is proof that I was somewhere when my wife says, "Where were you?"
All right, so there you go, folks. Mrs. Lee now knows that Bernie's actually working.
Doctor. Make sure you say doctor.
And let me say right off the bat, Foxwoods.
There you go.
Foxwoods for all of your live gaming pleasure in the Connecticut, New England area. All right. That said, and PokerStars.
PokerStars
We like
your
PokerStars
online.
too. PokerStars is great for all your online needs, and Feldman has no ESPN badge, but say I love ESPN.
I love ESPN.
Can you see it, folks? Can you feel the passion?
Watch Inside Deal.
All right, folks. You're not going to see much of my face today because I'm going to be panning back and forth between these guys with my handheld flip cam. Thank you very much, Poker Static. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff today that's going on in the poker world. We're going to spend a lot of time on PCA, of course, because, we're all here. We're also going to talk a little bit about Pralad because I just can't get enough of this story. And we are also going to talk about the November 9 reunion at Foxwoods.
You didn't know you could zoom with it.
Oh, I could, but it was so much more fun to do it manually. I'm still getting the hang of this flip cam thing, folks, and I like to get in people's faces. So yeah, guys, let's start talking about PCA since this is where we're at. A lot of stuff has been going on here. I'm interested right off the top to hear what you guys think the biggest story thus far is, because I think it has something to do with ESPN personally. Feldman?
Binglaha, right?
Right.
Binglaha?
Binglaha.
I don't know what Binglaha actually.
Elky, what do you think Binglaha is?
It's a game probably, a poker game, like a band, I guess, because I saw the Binglaha name on the list, I guess it would be that.
What is it? Omaha, but you roll dice.
It's pot limit Omaha.
Yeah.
There's a flop. Then whoever's the dealer button rolls a die. Comes out 1 through 3, it's high-low. If it's 4 through 6, it's high.
Oh, it's pretty sick. After the flop?
Yeah, after the flop. After the flop and after they're betting on the flop.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
I told you it was the biggest story there.
So you know what?
2 3 is low and 4 to 6 is high?
Yeah.
Feldman, you joke, but you had me write a story about the side games because of the fact that
2-3 is low, high low. 4-5-6 is just high. And then if you had ace deuce, it's 3-4-6.
Here's the thing, folks. This was an interesting enough topic that we actually did do a feature column on ESPN about Binglaha as well as Pipple Draw and all these other made-up games that have come out at PCA. But it's fun. Feldman, you were telling me the other day that you went over to the Binglaha tables just to ask a couple of questions. Tell me what you found out.
So first of all, I went over to the Binglaha tables just to actually see someone roll a dice on the felt, because rolling a poker needs more dice, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's sick, though.
So we walk over there and
Sick boy, I
I was over there and I decided to take a little informal poll. So I asked went to every table, 3 tables that were going on, and I go, how many people knew what this game was before signing up? Well, a total of 9 players out of like the 24, 25 that were sitting there had no idea what it was, and the 3 dealers didn't know what it was either.
Oh.
Like
As they were sitting there.
As they're sitting there playing. Whatever, hey, $600?
Just for the record, I have to write 18 articles to get $600 from Feldman.
19.
18.
19.
Oh.
Get your math right.
Okay, apparently I just got a worse deal. No, but so it is kind of cool that PokerStars has gone out of their way to make this more of a fun event. You know, the World Series, gotta love it, but it is, you know, everyone describes it now as a grind. You know, it is a bit of a painful, although rewarding experience. You know, do you think that the PCA has to be defined differently? Elky, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's better to have all these kind of events. They have like this like 1K tournament with like a 1K bounty and turbo stuff. 6 max. It's pretty action tournaments. You know, it's kind of fun because sometimes you don't want to you don't want to grind all day. And it's like some tournament. And it's very fun because like you like start at noon and you play the tournament and it's mostly going to last 2 hours. And then you can go out and enjoy, or you like go really far. And it's fun anyway. So it's I think it's kind of nice. Yeah, it's like. It's good to have like a change and not always the same tournament with the same structure and like switching it up a little bit and having more mixes. It's a lot of fun for all the players, I think.
Bernie, how have you enjoyed the side action here?
In all honesty, I haven't, because this is one of the few, well, it's the only tournament I bring my family to. So they're bucket pooling and, you know, lazy rivering, and so once you get knocked out of this event, you know, it's one of those things where you can play an event anywhere on tour. So why am I going to waste paradise? Of course, 2 feet of snow when I get back home to Boston. But one thing that I would say that I would like to see is, because of my specific scenario, where my kids have to go to bed, if I want to come out and play, is I'd like to see like $1,000 turbo or whatever at night. It's only 270s or whatever it is. And so, you know, one time during the week, maybe a Wednesday or Thursday, to have like 1,000 or 1,500 turbo at night starting at 8 or 9 o'clock and then go till 2 or 3 in the morning. I would have easily played that. But like I said, I think there's a lot of people like myself who bring their families down, people who qualify. This is a vacation. If you make it deep in the event, well, that's a good thing, you know, but for me, the side action is often very, very slick.
One quick travel and tourism question in here. Have you found that this resort has been vastly superior this year to its past incarnations?
As in the service?
I'm thinking service specifically.
The service definitely. I actually made that comment, I think, on last year on Poker Edge or Inside Deal, that the service was not up to par, because I thought it was kind of, people were kind of getting used to it. But this year, the service really went up number of notches. I mean, we had a phenomenal waiter yesterday at Mesa Grill, and some just overall, I think the service, there was definitely a meeting. Let's put it that way.
Restaurant drunk.
Well, whatever the case is, it was a great meal.
Talking to my taxi driver on the way in, he said that there's a lot of Chinese casino money coming into the Nassau right now. And the feeling I get is that maybe with the fact that an even larger resort is being built, the owners of Atlantis finally sort of said, you know what, we're not going to have a monopoly for long. Maybe we actually have to provide a great travel experience for people as opposed to just having a great destination.
It has to be, because if you want us to continue to keep coming down, and you want PokerStars to be bringing this many people down, it has to have that kind of level of. I mean, you know, a lot of us go all around the world, right? We're going to Monte Carlo, Las Vegas, you name it, there it is, and we compare it to that. You know, it's not just this is the only destination that we go to. So when you compare it to all those different destinations, it's hard to live up to that. And I will say this year, I think they are living up to it. So kudos to whoever called that meeting. Good for them.
Kudos. All right, back to poker a little bit. I was referring to a story at the top of the show.
We just buried it completely.
We just kind of buried with Binglaha. Thanks a lot, Feldman. That is the broadcast of the main event final table on ESPN2. This is a big deal.
With hole cards.
With hole cards. It's the first time in the history of poker that I know that poker is going to be broadcast on television at live speed with hole cards and expert analysis. Daniel Negreanu, my #1 choice for this kind of commentary in the world, is the guy who's going to be providing the color. I think it's going to be a pretty phenomenal moment in poker television history, at least. Bernie, are you as excited about this as I am?
I remember when they did this at Turning Stone, right? Turning Stone, Phil Ivey, D'Agostino. And obviously, we didn't know who D'Agostino was at the time, but we knew who Phil Ivey was. And put those two together, that I enjoyed. Unfortunately, I didn't see it when it really was live. I saw kind of the edited version later on, but I remember taping it and watching it 2 or 3 times. So I loved seeing that. And so I would be very excited to see it, unless it was not so late and we're here, and I'll be in bed probably. But I'm assuming that they will do a rebroadcast of some sort. But I think this is really good to be able to see something like this in kind of 1 hour delay time.
I'll be honest, I don't think there is going to be a rebroadcast.
Oh, no?
No. I think this is a one-shot.
I guess this is a TiVo moment.
Well, this is going to be 12 hours, right?
Exactly. You don't know how long it's going to be.
On YouTube. It starts at 10.
No, well, it starts at 5.
5. Oh, on ESPN 3, right.
And then picks up TV at 10 o'clock.
Oh.
So, I mean...
So ESPN 3 you can only watch online?
Yeah, but it's also going to be for TV. Depending where you are.
Like, here's the thing, though. In the past, if you wanted to watch 12 hours of poker, you had to go on a PokerTube. You know, this is a pretty phenomenal moment, not only for ESPN, but also for the education of the common viewer out there who, you know, I mentioned, Feldman, you had me do a blog for the site about this topic, and I mentioned that back in my WPT days, there were people who were telling me, make sure you write without spoiling the fact that there have been previous days of these tournaments. Because the viewers think that they're just coming to the table with uneven chip stacks at the producer's discretion. You know, like, there are people out there who don't understand tournament poker the way it truly happens. You know, this is going to really show people what a marathon it is. You know, Elky, you got people coming up to you all the time saying, you're Elky, we love you, but it's possible that people haven't really appreciated what you've had to go through to win these tournaments that you've won. It is a big deal for you that people are now going to finally understand.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really good. It's like one of the greatest things that happened for poker, because it's gonna make it like much more accessible to everyone also, and it's like 1 hour delay, so it's like almost live, which is like one of the first things for poker. But it's really great that they have the whole card, because I did some EPT live commentaries, but I don't show the whole cards, and unless you're like a die-hard poker fan, it's like not that interesting, because you have to like fill up a lot of the void too, you know, because people take time to make decisions, and when you like can't, because they don't see the whole cards, it's like much harder. So like I think it's gonna be very great, yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. The bottom line is, for all intents and purposes, it is live, because the people that are there are sequestered. They can't even get any information out. So as soon as it hits TV, it is live.
Right.
So 5 o'clock hits, you're watching on TV. It's exactly as if it was happening right now, because even the people who say you're in the sequestered room and you want to go to the bathroom or something, you have to wait an hour before you're allowed to leave that room. So no one
could get messy.
Yeah, it could be really bad. But in terms of this, it's the biggest game changer we have right now. You have casual fans who basically are so used to seeing flips on World Series of Poker and World Poker Tour, you know, time and time again. That's all you're going to see is like major hands, aces, kings, whatever. Now you're seeing a guy like today, Chris Oliver, is probably going to 6-bet with 8-4 offsuit, and people are finally going to see, wow, there's a little more strategy to this than just getting it all on pre-flop.
Right. Now, Feldman, let me ask you this.
Could be nice.
Feldman, you're a web guy, so you're not privy to everything that goes on the TV side of things, but do you know how long this was in the works at ESPN?
I'm working on this. I'm actually involved in that.
Sorry?
I'm actually involved in that part.
I just didn't want to put you on the spot in case you don't want to be.
On this since I first heard about this, I want to say late September. I mean, it was like, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, this is awesome. Really,
and that was with this particular event in mind?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like for any conspiracy theorists out there who saw Chris Moneymaker at the top of the standings, it wasn't a quick gut reaction or anything like that?
We've been promoting it for weeks, too. So,
all right. So, Bernie, do you agree with what I was saying about how this might change the education level of the average viewer?
I'm not really sure, and I'm going to tell you why. Is that because I think the average, I guess we have to define what the average poker player is, right? I mean, that's really what it is. If you're saying the average regular time poker player...
I'm not saying players, I'm saying viewers. Like, I can tell you my mother-in-law and my father-in-law sit and watch poker on television, and they have no idea who they are, and they have no idea what is good and what is bad.
I think that the problem with the everyday viewer, again, you're going by viewers, is that the one comment that I get a lot when people come watch me play at a final table is it's like watching paint dry. You don't see a flop. And people who view it want to see flops. It's going to take some time for people to see this over and over, that they say, oh, so it's not just every hand is all in and a flop, which the regular viewer, that's what they think poker is. That's not what it is. You know, it's one of those funny movie moments when, you know, somebody sees water on their shirt and then they come back and there's no water on their shirt. Well, when you're watching the World Poker Tour or WSOP or whatever, and someone has the button, and the very next hand they have the button again, I mean, that's not right, because it's been one round. You know, it's one round again. So.
Elky, would you play that table?
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I think it's going to be a good education for a lot of viewers to see that this isn't, you know, when we're playing in a final table, it's not action every single time. It is a mental and grind, because you're really going to have to withstand a lot of ups and downs. And I think that's the one thing that's going to be real good for the average viewer that doesn't, you know, when they play a 8-hour tournament, that's the entirety of the tournament.
Right.
We play a 9, 10, 14-hour final table, and that's day 5, day 4 of an event. I think people need to understand. I think that's going to be a real education and a real eye-opener for a lot of people. They think the WPT final tables are an hour long. You know, it's a little longer than that, just a bit.
I think they will also realize that the value of the hand is, and because like people don't get like ace king against queens over the hand. It's pretty rare when you have ace king against queens. That's why they like to rush the ball in. You know, you see people like with so much pride and like don't like really have like only pre-flops like you.
And I think today is you're going to see something, you know, based off of the way Chris Oliver has been playing. I played with him for about an hour and a half on day 1 and. Or day 2 it was, but he is going to be 4-betting with just very, very, you know, slim holdings, and I think people out there are going to really be just surprised at what different level players play at this level. You know, it's not, like you said, ace-king versus queens, and here we go. You know, it's not going to be that. It's going to be 4-betting, 5-betting with very marginal hands, and people are probably going to be throwing away hands that statistically are, you know, 80% favorite over the hand that they 4-bet with or 5-bet with, but they're going to throw them away. So it's going to be a lot different than what people think.
I think right now they think it's Tom Dwan's the only one who plays those hands.
Yeah, well, it's far from. It's far from. There are a lot of young players out there who play on the internet that they're playing just unbelievable holdings, and give them a lot of credit for having the guts to do it.
I think there are Frenchmen with bleach blonde hair who do the same thing.
But I think the big, you know, they said John Juanda used to do stuff like that. You know, they used to say, but I think the real difference of why he's successful and some of the other players aren't successful as of yet is they don't know when to turn the aggression down.
Right.
You know, when you turn the aggression on all the time, there's going to be a time when someone's going to have aces when you shove with 10-7. You're going to lose. And so they're going to walk away. But there are certain times where, you know what, maybe I should lay down the 5-bet because maybe that player is probably going to have me beat. And so I think it's the moments where that's what Juanda was known so well for, right? Being able to turn the aggression on but then slow it down and go back and forth just before the other person got what they were doing. And I think that players like Elky know that, and that's what makes them so special out there instead of, okay, I can turn the grab. We can put the pedal down all day at night, and if you're, you know, ridiculous holding cracks aces 3 times in a row, well then guess what? You are going to be fortunate in it, but more often than not, that doesn't happen. You know. So.
Is that true, Elky?
Yeah, that's pretty true. I think it's great because you can see also the history of the table, you know, and why people do some kind of certain moves, because like usually you just like pick one hand and then pick some crazy move.
There's one more topic I wanted to brief with you guys. What do you think about the broadcast team that ESPN has assembled, or ESPN in conjunction with PokerStars has assembled for this final table? Because, you know, for my money, Daniel Negreanu is the guy I want in a booth. If you want someone who's actually going to analyze hands and communicate that analysis to the public. Feldman, you agree?
I'm probably not going to weigh in on this topic.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think Daniel would be great because also it would be really good because he can talk a lot to fill up the void between the hands and people take a lot of time to discuss.
He's a talker.
Yeah, so that's I think he's a great guy for it. We're going to have to see the show. But
and who's his partner, James?
Yep.
Yeah, I worked with James at the World Series, and I think he's very good. You know, I had never worked with him before, so I think that combo is going to be very solid. And like I said, Daniel's loved by a wide range of players and a wide range of people, and he's very well spoken. And I think it's going to be a good team. It'll be a good start to this venture, and hopefully it'll continue on.
And, you know, I would say that not only is Daniel loved by a wide range of players, people who don't love him still care about him. You know, there's certainly a segment of the online population who does not like Daniel Negreanu, but they are infatuated with not liking him, and that means that people are going to be glued to this broadcast regardless of how they feel about him.
Well, you want someone that in the booth that's going to be able to explain every aspect of what's going on, and I think he's been in these situations before. He knows exactly how to do it, and he has the appeal of being one of the players from 2003, 2004 that became superstars. And so people will look at him and be like, oh, well, all right, I remember him. Especially people that haven't watched in a while, they turn on tonight and they hear his voice. They'll know what's going on. So, and they'll give him a little bit of respect. So.
Bernie, how do you feel about Dave Williams being the go-to guy? They're going up to the booth once in a while. I think it's Dave Williams and Lon McCarron are going to be doing a break segment.
I think it's a good choice. I mean, David's very well spoken as well. He was on Inside Deal before. I think he did a very good job there. And obviously Lon is fantastic. But I think David's a good choice. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Elky, you liking the Dave Williams Lon McCarron combo?
Who's the second person?
Sorry?
Lon McCarron, the host of the
Lon McCarron, the tall guy who hangs out with Norm Chad.
Oh yeah, sure. I think that would be great. Yeah, see, probably gonna be very good. I never heard David Williams say credit, but
yeah, I mean, Lon's gonna be great and leading the conversation. Basically, what they're gonna be doing is talking about some key movers in the last level, some analyze the big hands, and just talk about the general play of all the players. And while Daniel and James are doing the play-by-play, you're gonna have a separate team that's gonna be able to react to the play and talk about whatever they think.
You know what? Lon is a pro when it comes to broadcasting, but I think it's really impressive just how far he has come as far as his poker understanding and comprehension goes. He was not a poker guy in 2003 or 2002 when he did the World Series with Gabe Kaplan, but he really is now. You see every year he gets it a little bit more, and I think that makes him a really good choice for something like this.
no, absolutely.
Lots of nods. That's a good thing. All right, guys, let's move on to a couple other stories in the PCA. Yesterday, I felt like we as poker players are all on an even level more than ever before, because I was walking down the hallway and I saw Mr. Guy Laliberté enjoying a slushie, just walking along with a couple other players and talking hands. What does it mean that Guy Laliberté is back at the tables at the PCA? Look at the smile on Elky's face. I'm getting a close-up right there. That's fantastic. Now, really, should the entire community be smiling that way? Let's not say why, out of courtesy.
Actually, the first time I met Guy here, actually, and I went with him to Nobu, and then we went to gamble a little bit. So it was really fun. He's like a huge guy. He's like a really fun guy, yeah. He's a lovely guy.
Guy's an awesome guy. The first time I met him, I asked him. He had been ranked number 684 in the world for wealthiest men by what magazine would do that? Thank you, Forbes. And I asked him, so Guy, you're at the final table of the WPT. Are you here trying to move up to 683? He said, oh yes, I am here to increase my financial profile. He's a funny guy. He's got a sense of humor.
Say that again one more time.
Oh yes, I am here to increase my financial profile.
Well, we're gonna ask him to rate you now.
How's my French accent, Elky? I was anglicizing it for the viewers out there. Je parle très bien. Oui?
Oui, ça va.
Ah, merci. Tu es très bien. That's the extent of my French. That's 5 years in Canadian schools. No, but so seriously, Guy Laliberté playing poker is obviously a good thing. Guy is the guy who inspired a lot of high-stakes action online in recent years. He took a step away. And we've seen the high-stakes action dry up a little bit. What does this mean for the high-stakes games, and what does it mean for the trickle-down effect?
Well, I mean, just being a PCA, they're obviously the $100,000 event is huge. There's a lot of big money going around. There's also some crazy games on boats that have gotten a little out of control. I've been hearing about it. I'm sure he's been part of those, even though he's not playing them. Crazy games on boats. Do you know that?
I heard he was playing at his villa somewhere, but not in a boat, but it was a pretty crazy game. I think people flipping a flush in their hand. That's pretty sick too. I think it's really great for the game. People play a little bit more too, because it's really good action, and even it's kind of inspire more people to enter these huge tournaments. And I think that's kind of a trend that's gonna go maybe, because when I came here was so successful. It's kind of amazing actually. Nobody expected it to be that successful, especially considering how there was only 6 or 7 PokerStars pool on the other side of the student playing it, so it's kind of that's how more impressive it is, I think.
We have talked enough about PCA. PokerStars, we love you. Thank you very much for all that you have provided us in terms of fodder and content on this show. Let's move on to a few other things because, hey, you know, there's a world outside of Nassau.
No way. There's nothing outside PokerStars. Come on.
Sorry, say that again, Elky?
There's no word outside PokerStars.
PokerStars.net, of course.
PokerStars.net.
Okay, all right.
But sometimes PokerStars.fr. Sometimes.
All right, let's talk about everybody's favorite whipping boy of the week, Prahlad Friedman. Prahlad this week, after a history of panning, corporate logos and involvement with corporate logos, embraced the corporate logo by joining UB.net or Ultimate Bet as a whole. It's brought a pretty strong reaction from the industry because Prahlad was the guy who, more than anyone else, was hurt by the UB scandal a few years ago. And Daniel Negreanu specifically has spoken out quite candidly about his distaste for this particular signing. How do you guys feel about this? Has UB paid their dues enough that Prahlad is free to do whatever he wants, or does UB's past even have anything to do with Prahlad's individual sponsorship? Feldman, you got your mouth open.
Yeah, he basically said that they took care of him after the scandal and they gave him back his money, and apparently they handled things well enough that now he's in a position to really embrace them. That said, and I've said this now like 16 times.
Well, but then the question is it only about his being compensated, or is there a responsibility for a guy like Prahlad to worry about other people being compensated also?
I mean, in terms of his compensation, I'm going to say the line I said again because I think it's funny. It's like Teddy KGB telling Michael McD that he's getting paid with his own money. That's just the way it looks to me. I just think that this whole situation, if he believes that they've made things right for him and they've taken good steps forward, then so be it. That's his call. I mean, if he wants the sponsorship, I'm sure he's getting the millions for it or whatever he's getting, it's working out for him. I mean, obviously, money talks, logos everywhere.
That's not money. I love PokerStars. And that's true. That's true. That's true.
But Elky, would you have signed with PokerStars if you didn't love them?
I mean, it's kind of different, but with the history with Brad, I probably wouldn't sign that spot because especially with the history and he's like kind of talking for years that he wouldn't sign with the logo. That's kind of the saddest part, I think, because like, I mean, that's fine to sign even if it happens, but with the history and the image he had, and you never want any logo because he said that he doesn't want to buy out or something, and then he does something like that, I think that's very good for him because he kind of contradicts himself the way he's acting and compared to those previous years. So.
You know, there was a movie, I can't remember which one it was, but where they said every man has his price. You know, and I think that's an old adage, and I think maybe we're seeing evidence of that here. You know, Bernie, do you think that there is a line that he has crossed over here that everybody would have crossed over in the circumstances?
I'm going to answer it this way: is that whether whether he was hurt in the UB scandal or all this stuff is that he made a specific comment that said that anyone who takes sponsorship is a sellout, and he was very adamant about saying that was a bad thing. I think he even came on Inside Deal and specifically said that. Again, that's from his word. I'm not putting words in his mouth. That's what he said. And then now he takes the deal. So to me, I'm just confused. To be honest, if he takes it from UB or Stars or Tilda, that's his choice. But had he never said that comment, and he was part of the UB scandal, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, so what? They took care of him. He feels that everything is fine now, and he's moved forward from that. But from the point that he said that so adamantly, not once, not twice, numerous times, and now has gone the other way and, kind of made some funny videos online of people talking to him about, now I'm part of the site. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if I've seen a video yet that gives an explanation of why he flipped that statement. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe there has been, but to me, it would make sense of, well, now the reason why I am now quote-unquote selling out, again, his own words, is because of X, Y, and Z. I haven't seen it, so I'd really like to see that. Why are you now selling out when you were so adamantly just a month or two ago saying that it was a sellout? That's my only question.
Well,
that's my question mark.
He did do an interview in which he said that he was doing it for a couple reasons. First of all, that his family had given him the okay. He talked to those who were close to him, and they all felt that it was the right thing for him to do. And second of all, this gave him an opportunity to do a lot of good as far as charity work goes. That Ultimate Bet was offering creative control that other sites weren't. It was an opportunity for him to really go to the forefront of what he wanted to do charity-wise and really make a contribution. Do you buy those as reasons, or do you still think that ultimately a man should stick to the words that he utters in public?
I think he could have opportunities to do charity with the sponsorship money before he signed with Ultimate Bet. Obviously, if he's going to talk with other teams and they want him, he could just say like, yeah, I want to do a lot of charity works, and I don't think other side would like say, no, we don't want you to do charity works with us, just like the tournaments. Obviously, so I think it's kind of like bullshit. Sorry. But I think that's what it is. I mean, if the side wants to sign me, I'm like, I want to do charity with you guys, it's gonna be great, and they can do a lot of things. Of course, it's a great thing it's gonna do with UB, but it's not like reason. Nothing just changed. Like it's not like nobody in poker ever did charity before. You know, you get a lot of opportunities if you wanted to do it before.
You sign a contract.
Well, one thing that I'm going to say is that everyone has the right to change their mind, and that's the choice that he made. And you know, when push comes to shove, listen, like you said, we both are wearing logos because somebody is sponsoring us, and there is obviously a lot of financial security from that, and a lot of benefits from that, and listen, you can't like say for the rest of his life now he can't do anything that could benefit his family and moving forward. So you know, I wish him all the best. Again, it seemed a little contradictory to what he was so adamantly saying before, but hey, you can't say that he can't change his mind. That's the choice that he made, and I wish him all the best.
Now, this is a guy we're talking about who has proceeded through the poker community with a lot of respect for the stuff that he has accomplished at the table, and I think some respect for the kind of person he's been away from the table. Now, you two specifically are going to be sharing the felt with him at some point in the future. Now, this isn't necessarily going to change the way you see him as a player, but is this going to cause a lessening of the respect you have for him as a person when you deal with him again?
Well, I mean, it's kind of strange when you come, like, when you, like, so strongly in the subject for so many years, and then like, all of a sudden change your mind, but, I mean, obviously he's not going to lose any respect I have of him as a player. He's a great player, and, I mean, I'm sure he's had some decent reasons to do so, but it just kind of looks very strange in the context that he is now, especially in the poker community now, but...
Bernie, same thing?
Look, he's a great player. He's proven himself live and online. He's taken some hits because of the scandal. He's even admitted that it hurt his game because he was kind of questioning if he was doing something wrong, and you know, he made his choice. So I mean, I don't think it's going to affect my opinion of him one way or the other. I personally don't know him that well at all. My only conversation was on Inside Deals, so I don't really know him that well. I don't think it's really going to change my opinion specifically of him, and I wish him all the best. I hope it all works out for him.
Do you guys want to get him on Inside Deal?
We've had him on Inside Deal.
Do you want to get him back now that this new deal's in hand?
Not a story. I'm dead serious. I mean, honestly, we look at sponsorships as, yes, they're nice to announce and they're big deals, but in terms of bringing in a guest because he signed a sponsorship deal, unless it's a real corporate, something major out of the ordinary.
Isn't it kind of like the free agent period for Major League Baseball, though?
Kind of, but I mean, really, who's getting signed these days? Is it really that, like...
Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
That'll be a story.
That'll be it.
That right there, folks, is a segue. Let's talk about Phil a little bit because, you know, we've done this parlay thing now. Elky, you're a member of Team Poker Stars. How would you like to share the spotlight with not only the man away from the table, but the guy at the table, the ring entrances, and all the stuff that comes with it?
I mean, I think it's probably going to be fun. Actually, he's a great guy outside the table, so it's like a lot of fun to be with him, I think, and I think he'll be great. Yeah, he's a great guy for the industry, and he's like has a pretty strong image. I mean, a lot of people dislike him for like his table attitude, but I think he's. I'm happy. I think I would like to be with him. Yeah, for sure.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you think of Phil Hellmuth, do you think of UB or think of Phil Hellmuth?
Yes.
You think of UB when...
I think a little bit of UB. Yeah.
Really?
I do, because of the fact...
The branding of Phil Hellmuth is Phil Hellmuth.
I think that it is primarily Phil Hellmuth, but I do think that UB has been a part of that. He's been wearing the black and yellow for years, and it's part of his identity, and it's part of their identity. And as silly as something as aesthetic as colors go, you know, it's really a part of who he has been as far as the image that he has presented. That said, I don't see that being a real stumbling block for him signing with a major site. The stumbling block I see is I know that I believe that Phil wants to be second dog to another player. So, for example, and by the way, folks, I should say we're not operating with any knowledge of a deal that Phil has signed or anything. To date, he has not signed a contract, as my understanding. But if Phil were to sign with Poker Stars, Daniel Negreanu is the big dog. Sorry, Elky, you're big in France and in Korea. But Daniel Negreanu is the face of this site, and for Phil Hellmuth to come on, he's going to have to share that spotlight a little bit.
I don't necessarily agree with that, by the way. I don't think Daniel is the person like Phil Hellmuth is the person for UB. I really don't. I mean,
he's not the only one, but he's probably
he's definitely one of. But if you
but he's certainly number one amongst them, right?
But what I'm saying is that if you related it to Phil Hellmuth and how far he was, and you can say Andy Duke was up there as well. But you've got so many other people that would relate closer to Daniel than Phil related closer to than the other stable. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's fine that Daniel's number one. I'm okay with that. But there are a lot of other people under Daniel that were closer to. I mean, you can't say Moneymaker is just not a face of Poker Stars. You see Moneymaker, you see Poker Stars. End of story. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. No matter how far you're going to have, you've got champions like crazy. You don't have that at UB.
But you know what? Chris isn't the guy who's speaking at press conferences. Daniel's that guy.
You have Raymer speaking at in Congress. I mean, you have. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're not right in that statement. What I'm saying is, Phil was UB, right? Whereas under him, there are solid players.
And there was nobody in UB too. I mean, it's kind of
but I'm
so many players in Poker Stars that obviously.
Yeah, but right now, I'm just saying that comparatively, if you compare the two on the scale, there are players in Poker Stars. Well, primarily because they have such good players. I mean, as well.
So compare the two globally. Compare Hellmuth globally and Negreanu globally. Who's the bigger reach?
It's a really good question, to be honest.
Because I mean, you look at Negreanu, and Negreanu in U.S. and Canada is huge. You go overseas, you have different guys. You have Dario, you have Elky. You go down to Brazil, you have Andre.
Well, but wait a minute, isn't Daniel international though?
He's international.
Yeah.
Okay, but to the extent that Hellmuth was, you look at Hellmuth and think, wow, 11 bracelets no matter where you go. Everybody thinks that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
In terms of the global reach, I kind of give the edge to Hellmuth, and I think that Hellmuth coming in will help no matter where he goes.
Regardless of which side of that debate you fall on, though, you have to acknowledge that there's certainly a spotlight that is going to be chopped up as a result of Phil Hellmuth coming on, were he to come on to a Poker Stars, or even a Full Tilt. Can you imagine the Team Full Tilt guys sort of putting aside their egos and saying, well, Phil's going to get more attention, and hey, that's great. I guess bottom line is bottom line.
Well, that's why a lot of the discussions have been going back and forth, at least the rumor mill, that he would be the face of the WSOP site. And I think that makes all the sense in the world.
Now it's not happening.
Oh, it was now?
WSOP doesn't want to sign a player.
Oh, well, then it's a different story.
WSOP has been very against individual brands.
Yeah.
So
that made a lot of sense. And then the other thing that I talked about with somebody else is that, well, why couldn't there be a Doyle's room? There could be a Phil's room or something like that, because that's I think something that he would want and be able to at least, would it be a number 3, 4 site? I don't know, but at least it would be something.
I also heard Party Poker's in the mix.
That makes a lot of sense.
Party Poker makes a lot of sense because they are about the powerful individual player brands. Like Tony G is Tony G, and he happens to play for Party Poker. Sexton too. So I could see that. Now, if you were offered a wager of Full Tilt and Poker Stars versus the field, which side of that wager would you take?
Full Tilt Stars.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying that
either
Full Tilt or Star signs him, or
you get to take either Full Tilt and Poker Stars to sign him, or the field.
Oh, I'll take the field.
I would take the field too.
Really? I don't think Tilt. I'm taking Tilt off the table right away.
I would actually say Tilt.
Really?
Stars, yeah.
I would take Tilt off the table. I would say Stars is easier because there's so many of them. I think Tilt is just. I just don't think Tilt.
Feldman, as ESPN guys, we're not allowed to publicly make money bets. Would you like to bet 5 push-ups done at a public place?
Yeah, 5 push-ups.
All right,
Great.
Witness right there, folks.
It might take like 6 hours for me to do them.
It might take me 8.
Not in a row.
We've already seen me do push-ups on the inside deal once, so
Looking forward to it.
we'll make sure the cameras are there again. Now, Annie Duke, meanwhile, has said that she is not interested at all in signing a deal with an online site. Do you guys believe her? Bernie?
I don't see why we would disagree with her. I know Annie, and she's pretty honorable in what she says. If that's what she really is saying, I don't think she's trying to do it and go against. Why wouldn't it be? I don't see why not. Now, would she be trying to position that so she can silence him? Sure, it's a possibility. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt for now.
Feldman?
I don't have enough information on that subject to really comment.
Fair enough.
Not from the figures, I'm not done.
Feldman, you agree with Bernie's sentiments?
I'm kind of in a weird spot because I got a cryptic email saying there's something coming out this week.
Okay.
So I don't really know what it's about at all. I just know it has to do with Annie.
Okay, well, let's keep that on ESPN.com as an exclusive.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I find out.
Fair enough. I'll help you write it up if you so desire.
Beyond cryptic.
All right.
I can't tell you what's happening, but something might be happening. Thank you.
Sounds like the poker industry to me. All right, we're about 40 minutes in this thing. I want to wrap it up because you guys have been very patient with my technical glitches, and you've been great with your content. Before we do, I want to talk about one more topic, and that is, Bernie, you're sporting a Foxwoods patch. You are the official representative of Foxwoods here at PCA. And I think everybody who knows agrees that you do a great job of promoting that casino's live action. You and I were talking earlier about the fact that there's something pretty big going on at Foxwoods coming up. The November 9 is going to be reassembling for a tournament of Foxwoods. Right. And that even includes, poor Filippo Candio traveling 900 hours from Italy in order to play. This is a coup for you guys. First of all, were you a part of the putting together of this promotion?
Yes. Underline yes.
So, was anybody else a part of putting together this promotion?
Everyone at Foxwoods helped, and we're very pleased to have it. It definitely was an idea that I've had for a while. In the world of modern day poker, no one has ever reassembled a World Series final table, and I've always thought that was kind of weird. And so this has been an idea that I probably had in the works probably for the last 2 or 3. Well, to be honest, since the first November 9. I always thought, wow, it'd be perfect to bring together a November 9. Well, since I have the opportunity at Foxwoods to have the resources behind me, and I've been working on it probably for on and off for 3 or 4 months, but very hard for the last 2. We got all of them, and so they're going to host the February Mega Stack, which goes from the 4th through the 13th of February. But we're going to have a reunion event on the 8th with all of them, and it's going to be a 3-table tournament, and all the other players are going to be made up of Foxwoods players who are now competing for the right to play against them. Yeah. So,
aces and kings, ladies and gentlemen. Only sometimes the kings.
I mean, it's great for us to be able to put this together for the world of poker, to bring them all back together again. I think all the players, in all honesty, are very excited about it as well. I've heard a lot of them talking about it. A lot of them were pretty amazed that we got all 9 of them together again, and now they're all out to beat Duhamel, and Duhamel's out there to make sure that he holds the title. So it'll be a lot of fun. We're going to be streaming it live on foxwoodslive.com as well, and it'll be a great event that day, and hopefully a lot of people come out to see it.
All right, I got to come clean here. When we talked about this on the Poker Beat, my initial reaction was, this is a nice little gimmick, but it's not really a news story. It's a nice little way to promote Foxwoods. I then kind of went back and looked at it again, and I realized, you know what? 1 year is a nice gimmick. If they make this an annual thing, it becomes a true event. Is there a plan right now in action to try to get the thing regular?
I would say, would I like to make this an annual event? I'll tell you right now, if the November 9 commits every year, I'll make it happen. That's easy. But you also have to remember there's 9 schedules. There's 9 players.
Right.
There's 9 people who live in all over the world. This is probably the first year in a long time that this could have been done. We talked about this. Is this a global game at the World Series final table, or is this a North American game? Well, 8 people in North America makes it a lot easier than 4 people in North America, 3 in Europe, 2 in China, and 1 in Australia. That makes it a lot harder for them to assemble at Foxwoods. So we're very fortunate that it all worked out just perfectly. Everyone's schedule worked out just well. And the day that we chose worked out well. We maneuvered back and forth, and it worked out perfectly. So could it happen every single year? We have no problem assembling it and doing it. I just don't think that it would have been possible. We couldn't have done it the year before, because I'm not sure if Phil would have come.
Right.
I don't think we could have done it the year before that, because Peter and Ivan, I'm not sure if they would have come. So, I mean, it would have been a lot harder. So.
If you can get 7 people next year, would you do that?
We may try to.
All right.
I mean, we'll definitely look at it. But
we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah. Feldman, am I right? Is this just a little promotional filler, or is this really a big story?
I think it's kind of cool. it's never been done before. I mean, it's very cool to see all of them together again. Of course, you can see it doing nothing, do it twice.
That's right.
Are you going to start with the same ships as the start?
No, because it's going to be 3 tables, so everyone will get the right to play them. It'll be 3 table, not turbo per se, but it'll be like 30-minute levels, etc. So it's a free roll for everyone who qualifies, obviously for the November 9 as well. And I think the neat thing that we'll have a press conference beforehand with all of them is that the press are going to be able to talk to multiple players at the same time. At the World Series final table, you talk with, Soy and thanks, I'm sorry you got knocked out, I got to get back to the final table. Now you can sit down and talk with Jarvis and Chong and say, hey, tell us about the first big confrontation at that final table, what do you think? You can sit down with Dolan, Mizrahi, and Racer and say, you 3 Florida boys, what is it about Florida? Now you have the opportunity to talk to multiple ones about the final table, whereas before you're really only talking to one of them and you're getting their exit interview or the celebratory Duhamel.
If you really want to get the attention, get Chung and Duhamel in a hand, where Duhamel 4 bets, and Chung has the option to go all in. And see what the media's reaction is to that. That'd be. I recommend fixing a deck.
Well, and having Racner sit there and beg
Watch.
and just sitting there watching. How's that for a night?
Perfect.
How's that for a night?
John Racner, the Glenn Cozen of the 2000s.
There you go.
All right, guys, you guys have been great. You've been patient and you've been informative, and I really appreciate it. Before we get going and let you go and do other things, I'm going to force you to promote all the stuff that you need to promote. Let's start on the right side here, Mr. Feldman. Tell us everything people should be doing to check out your stuff on the internet.
Read Gary Wise comps on ESPN.com.
Thank you, buddy.
Inside Deal Poker Edge, find them on iTunes. And read Gary Wise comps on ESPN.com.
I love them. You can see why I like working for those guys.
ESPN too.
ESPN 2, folks. It's going to be a hell of a thing. Elky.
Play on PokerStars.net, obviously. Play home games also, because it's a great thing, and also buy Parmigiani watches because I recently signed a deal with them.
Let's get a good look at that watch.
I'm really, really happy and thrilled to be with them. Actually, I visited the manufacturer in Swiss, and it's just like the sickest thing. These people, they assemble the watch. It can take like up to 400 hours for one guy to make a watch, so he just like works 10 hours a day for like 40 days on the same watch.
How much does that cost?
This one costs like 20,000 euros. But they make one for Bugatti.
Only?
They make one for Bugatti. It takes like 500 hours to make them. And it's like
Okay, that's a mainstream sponsor. Like
so it's like a crazy thing.
That's a non-industry sponsor. That's a pretty big deal right there.
Yeah, I'm really glad about it. I'm really glad to be the first one in Europe. I don't know in America there are many deals like that, but it's definitely something huge, and hopefully I can like bring more mainstream sponsors because it's something good, and I can get them introduced to poker, and I think there can be a lot of good things coming from it for sure.
Bernie.
Well, obviously, we talked about November 9 Inside Deal. Come watch ESPN Inside Deal as we go through the World Series. Obviously, come to Foxwoods, and then also my radio show, Bernard Lee Poker Show, on iTunes.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Give me your Twitter feeds before we go. Feldman?
At ESPN_poker.
At Elky Poker.
At Bernard Lee Poker.
Are you guys serious? You didn't coordinate that? Dear God. And mine's Gary Wise 1, folks, in case you're wondering. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate the input. This has been Gary Wise versus the World from PCA. We are out.